Welcome to Toxic versus Traumatized. Does your girlfriend have a history of being emotionally abused? Edition. Number 1, she doesn't express herself to you very well. Toxic women pick and choose when to communicate with you when it best fits their agenda. Women who come from trauma, it's not a conscious choice for them, which often means that she's not meaning to and she might just need a little bit of help getting out of that. Number 2, she's not very receptive to your kind gestures. Now, a toxic woman will belittle your gestures, find a way to tell you it's not good enough. But a woman who comes from past relational abuse, we often confuse those gestures as you trying to manipulate us because that's what our past relationship has done. But she won't pick it apart. She'll just act strange about whatever it is. Number 3, huge sign, she expresses she doesn't feel good enough for you. Toxic women will say that when they feel like you're not buying into their bullshit. A traumatized girl genuinely believes that, and you'll see it the most when you compliment her. Number 4, they overreact to little things. Now you gotta be very careful with this one because this one's a fine line. The biggest telltale is the emotion. Toxic women will overreact to small things in an angry way. I'm gonna give you 2 examples. Number 1, you're in the bathroom too long, she gets pissed off at you because you're not out there hanging out with her. Number 2, you guys are out walking, you trip over each other, she gets mad at you and says, "Why are you so clumsy?" Overreacts. Now I'm gonna give you the same scenario, but a girl who's traumatized. You're in the bathroom too long, she's probably gonna shut down emotionally, probably go take a nap, be very sad, be very quiet, because she's gonna think that you're avoiding her. She's gonna be sad about it. Guys are out together, you trip over each other, she's not gonna be mad at you, she's gonna be apologizing to you, even if it was your fault. Those are signs of her ex having strong reactions to her little mistakes. Toxic girls have big reactions to try to trap you. Traumatized, it has nothing to do with you. Next is, she apologizes for everything. Again, a fine line though. A toxic woman will apologize for everything by saying things like, "I'm sorry that I just never do anything right. I'm sorry that I'm just not the perfect one for you." Toxic. A traumatized girl will actually be concerned while apologizing. "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to," like the littlest things. Like she drops your phone and she's, "I'm so sorry." Like there's this big reaction because she's expecting a big one from you. Next, she struggles with physical intimacy. This kind of goes back to the all the time, sometimes thing. Toxic women will use a lack of physical intimacy, whether that's sex or cuddling, things like that, as a form of punishment, so when you're not doing what they want. But traumatized women, they can't help it. They don't pick a sometimes. In fact, it's more often sometimes they're comfortable because they've got a lot going on up here. Physical intimacy and emotional intimacy go hand in hand. If she's shutting down emotionally, she's gonna shut down physically. And I saved this one for last because it is probably the most complicated one because we're taught that this one is always toxic, but it's stonewalling. It's difficult to do things like toxic versus traumatized because a lot of the time, toxic traits come from trauma. But it can also be very blatant on when they're just trying to be manipulative, which is essentially narcissists or psychopaths. Now there's 2 types of stonewalling. There's shutting down, which means refusing to even communicate. And then there's the stonewalling, which is blaming. So throwing everything back to you. That's why it's called stonewalling, because it's like throwing a ball at a wall and it just bounces right back at you. Sometimes that ball is, "Hey, would you like to communicate?" And other times it's, "Hey, this is what you're doing to hurt me." Women with past trauma struggle to communicate. I'm one of them. I don't do it to hurt anybody. I would just rather not fucking talk about it because I'm afraid that if I open up, then I'm the only person that can blame when they walk away. So pay attention to if she's blaming you or not. That's the key.